Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report, as we turn right now to an issue that we actually have addressed in the last few minutes, and it's the issue of stop and frisk. Nermeen?
The New York City Police Department's controversial stop-and-frisk program was a major issue for voters going to the polls in the city's mayoral election. The issue drew widespread attention in August when U.S. District Judge Shira Scheindlin found stop-and-frisk unconstitutional, saying police had relied on a, quote, policy of indirect racial profiling that led officers to routinely stop blacks and Hispanics who would not have been stopped if they were white. While she did not halt the use of the tactic, Judge Scheindlin appointed a federal court monitor to oversee a series of reforms. New York City's Republican mayoral candidate Joe Lota vowed to take the case to the U.S. Supreme Court. Meanwhile, the victor in Tuesday's race, Democratic Bill de Blasio, vowed to begin the reforms right away, saying any delay would result in irreparable harm. Then, in a dramatic development last week, those reforms were put on hold. On Thursday, an appeals court stayed the changes, effectively allowing police officers to continue using stop and frisk.
Well, we've brought you response to the ruling from one of the lawyers who helped argue the case. Now we're going to reaction from a police officer who's spoken out about problems with the stop and frisk program he and thousands of other officers are asked to carry out. Adhyl Polanco joined the New York City Police Department in 2005. In 2009, he became critical of the NYPD's stop and frisk policy when his superiors told officers to meet a quota of stops or face punishment. He made audio recordings of the quotas being described during meetings in his precinct and brought his concerns to authorities, but he said he was ignored. He then took his audio tapes to the media, including the Village Voice, where reporter Graham Raymond wrote a series called the NYPD tapes, featuring several police officers like him. Officer Polanco also testified in the recent trial challenging the constitutionality of stop and frisk. For several years, he was suspended with pay. He's returned to work on the police force, where he's been put on modified assignment. Officer Polanco was recently featured in a video produced by the group Communities United for Police Reform.
Believe it or not, I've been stopped by police after I became a cop. We used to walk to Washington Heights with two other cops, friends of mine, and we would got thrown against the wall just for walking down. I'm not saying don't stop the criminal. I say don't stop the innocent people. My name is Adhyl Polanco. I've been a police officer since 2005. Came to New York, I was 10. Came from a third world country, the Dominican Republic. I grew up in Washington Heights. Those shootings almost every night. It was a daily thing. The 34th precinct used to have a cop come into my 6th grade class. She used to come every Wednesday, and I used to look up to her like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I mean, this is what I told my father. I think I want to be a cop. For me, it was a dream. In 2009, the commanding officers require us to have a 120 and 5 quota system. 120 and 5 means 1 arrest per month, 20 summonses per month, and 5 stop, question, and frisk. So basically, they wanted to stop at least one person a day. But what happened the day you don't see the crime? What happened the day you don't see the violations? People start getting creative. We will stop a person in the street in the corner because the sergeant says stop him. Why? You don't ask. You stop him, you frisk him, if it's possible, you search him. In this case, sometimes they just walking home from school, they just walk into the store, they're not doing absolutely anything. They're not doing absolutely anything. And it's a really humiliating feeling. When they go through your pockets, when they stop you, you don't have no freedom. If you stop and then tell the officer, I don't have to give you my ID, I don't have to give you my name, which is within the law allows you to do that, you're gonna get hurt. In the Bronx, you're gonna get hurt. My turning point was with a bunch of kids in a corner, stopped by the commanding officer. There was a 13-year-old mix in the group. Polanco cuffed him. He said, for what? Cuff him. You don't ask me a question. Cuff him, bring him back. His brother come to ask, what's going on with my brother? He's walking home from school. Officer, did he do anything stupid? The commanding officer looked at my partner and told her, cuff him too, bring him in. For what? Oh, we will figure it out later. Just bring him in. And that was my turning point. That was the time I said, you know what? Why should I do it to a kid that's just walking home from school? That we know is not doing anything. Why should I do this? This is not what I became a cop for. This is not what I wanted to do. I live for my kids. And I think of them. I think of them one day being slapped by a cop, like it happens so many times in the street. I'm thinking of them being handcuffed and screaming to the cop, I haven't done anything, I haven't done anything. Why are you arresting me? I haven't done anything. I don't want them to go through that. If you get violated by a cop, how are you going to trust that cop? How are you going to come up to him when you see something? If this is the same cop that threw me against the wall and this is the same cop that went through my private parts looking for crack that I didn't have, why should I help him? You should be working with the community. It's written like that. You should be getting community trust. There's a lot of things that can make the community safer. Stopping and harassing innocent people is not going to make the community safer.
That was NYPD officer Adhyl Polanco in a video produced by the group Communities United for Police Reform. When we come back, he joins us in our studio. Stay with us.